I still remember the night when I first heard the story of the. I was visiting my cousin Neka in her village, a quiet, dusty place deep in the heart of eastern Nigeria. It was pitch dark, and the only sound was the faint hum of crickets outside. I had never believed in spirits or creatures in the woods, but after that night my mind changed. Neka and I were sitting outside, talking and laughing, when her grandmother joined us. She looked at me with her deep, knowing eyes and asked if I had ever heard of the Aya. I shook my head, thinking it was just another tale meant to scare city kids like me. Her eyes grew dark as she leaned in closer, her voice dropping low. "The Aya is not like other spirits," she whispered. "It moves in the shadows, waiting for those who don't respect the forest." She told us that the Aya is a spirit that looks like a man, but it's not human. It has the face of someone you know, and it can trick you into following it deep into the forest. Once you're lost, it leaves you there, laughing, disappearing into the night. People vanish for days. Sometimes they come back, but they're never the same. I felt a chill run through me, but I shrugged it off. It was just a story, I thought. That night, around midnight, I woke up thirsty. I decided to get some water from the stream nearby, where Neka had taken me earlier that day. I walked out into the cool night, hearing the sounds of the village asleep around me. I walked quietly down the path, my feet crunching softly on the dirt. As I reached the stream, I saw someone standing there. He was facing away from me, bending over the water as if he was washing his face. I was about to call out to him when I realized something odd. He was wearing the exact same shirt my cousin had been wearing earlier that day. I squinted, trying to see his face, but he didn't turn around. "Hello," I called out, my voice barely a whisper. The figure stood up slowly, and my heart pounded. I saw his profile just enough to recognize his face. It was my cousin, but something was wrong. His skin was pale, and his eyes were blank, almost like he was looking through me. He just smiled, but there was nothing friendly about it. Then, without a word, he started to walk into the forest, stepping silently among the trees. Against my better judgment, I found myself following him, as if something was pulling me forward. The trees seemed to close in, swallowing us both, and the sounds of the village faded away behind me. I tried calling his name, but he didn't answer. He just kept walking, moving faster and faster until he was almost running. I struggled to keep up, branches scratching my arms and legs. My heartbeat was loud in my ears, but all I could hear was his footsteps just ahead of me. Then suddenly he was gone. I stopped looking around. I was alone. There was no path, no sound, just darkness and trees in every direction. Panic rose inside me as I realized I didn't know the way back. I turned, trying to retrace my steps, but every turn looked the same. My cousin was nowhere in sight. I don't know how long I wandered there. Hours maybe. My phone had no signal, and I was too scared to shout. Eventually I sat down, exhausted, my legs too heavy to move. I could feel something watching me, just beyond the trees, hiding in the shadows. I remembered the story Neka's grandmother told, the warning she gave me. I closed my eyes, praying that somehow I'd make it back. When the first light of dawn broke through the trees, I finally found the stream again. I stumbled down the path, my body shaking, and made it back to the house. Neka and her grandmother were there, looking worried. They asked where I'd gone, and when I tried to explain, they both looked at me in horror. My cousin hadn't left the house all night.
This video is brought to you by Storyverse and Innocent Michael. If you want to see more of this content, like and subscribe, and don't forget to share.